Good day, mate, and welcome to The Sun Down Under. I'm Felicity Cross, Deputy TV Editor of The Sun, camped out here on Australia's Gold Coast, poised and ready to bring you all of the gossip from I'm a Celebrity as the series prepares to launch just hours from now on ITV1 and ITVX. Later in the podcast, I'll be bringing you a first look at what you can expect from tonight's opening episode. It sounds amazing. ITV have really blown the budget on this. There are some epic entry trials coming up. They've all been filmed ready, and of the snaps that I've seen already from behind the scenes, we are in for a treat. All our favourite celebrities have been up to some truly terrifying things. So stay tuned and I'll share all the info on that. But first, some gossip. First up, a Sun on Sunday exclusive here. And we can reveal that Grace Dent is heading into the jungle, having previously made sick jokes about her co-star Nigel Farage. Oh, awkward one this. She made some jokes online about his near-fatal plane crash back in 2010. So the background on this is in 2010, the politician was feared that he was burning to death after a two-seater aircraft he was travelling in crashed into a field in Northamptonshire. He was travelling at around 80 miles an hour. It was May the 6th. The morning of the general election. Miraculously, he walked away from the wreckage with just a bloodied and cut face. He later had to undergo major spine surgery, which has affected his life ongoing and actually means he's exempt from some of the trials in the jungle. But obviously, it was a huge ordeal for him. So for Grace to have made these jokes online isn't going to sit quite right. So what did she say? She was tweeting online and she said, "I hope none of the people who saved his life today were pesky immigrants." In a second tweet, she said, "UKIP claim Nigel Farage crash brought about by nonsensical European laws of gravity." So, it hasn't gone down well in the camp in terms of the politician's side. A source told us, Nigel is the first one to take the mick out of himself, but the truth is that he very nearly died in that crash. He's lucky to be alive. Any joke about the plane crash is crass and poor taste. No one who saw them will forget the pictures of him being pulled from the wreckage. Nigel is always up for a debate, especially with those who may not like him, but citing the crash is a step too far. Of course, it has to be said that that kind of pithy takedown is very much what Grace does best. It's what people know and love her for. She's a food critic, she's a columnist. She's made a lot of jokes about a lot of people over the years, including some about soap stars, a few of whom she will also encounter in the camp. So when I spoke to her this week, I asked her about this and if she didn't fear coming face to face with any of those people in the jungle. She told me, "Anything I've said over the years is always just full of humour and silliness. I'm a massive television fan. Anything I've ever said has always been in really, really good spirits, hopefully." So we'll see how it all goes down in the jungle camp. This week I caught up with First Date's maitre d' Fred Sirieix about his plans for the jungle, and particularly how he might feel about coming up against a certain divisive politician in there with Nigel Farage. And it was an interesting chat, to say the least. He's definitely sitting on the fence a little bit more than he has in the past. He's basically hinted that he'll be biting his tongue as opposed to wading into any kind of Brexit bust-up. The background on this one is quite complex. Essentially, we told earlier last week how we had discovered unearthed tweets from Fred where he wrote, "Farage is a coward who likes money, attention and the sound of his own voice far too much. Definitely not a selfless, idealistic revolutionary." So there's definitely some beef there. He's also called Brexit a con and said the outlook for the UK food and restaurant industry was grim. So we felt like there was probably spoiling for a real jungle scrap on this. But when we asked Fred about that this week, he said, "Sometimes it's better to just shut up because, again, what am I going to achieve? It all depends on the situation and I can't give you a hard and fast rule. We have to remember I'll be there for 3 weeks and I'm trying to have some fun. But I'm not going to solve anything while I'm in there. I think it's just a case of live and let live." It sounds like a very sensible approach, but oh my gosh, we'd all have loved a proper fight, wouldn't we? Do you remember those old episodes where Lady Colin Campbell, for example, so outspoken, really shared her thoughts and sort of her opinions? So it would be a shame if Fred didn't stand up for himself on this one, but we'll see. Fred also revealed that he'd heard from some of his celebrity pals ahead of heading into the jungle. My favourite, Sweary Gordon Ramsay, simply told him, Fred, don't take any shit. Another celebrity I spent some time with this week is gorgeous former EastEnders star Danielle Harold. Oh, what a babe. Such a sweet girl, really going in there to try and, step outside of that EastEnders character. She obviously had some really heavy, tragic storylines with Lola Pearce towards the end of her 15 years on the soap. But instead of all of that, we chatted about her bikinis. Now, when we first met Danielle at the airport, she had absolutely tons of luggage. So much so, her handlers found it difficult to fit it into the back of the car. It was like real life Tetris watching them try to do this. So I had to ask, what's in all that luggage? She said, I've got so many bikinis and so many clothes, a stupid amount. Obviously, I had to then ask, did that mean we were going to be getting a priceless jungle shower moment? But she said she could never rival Clean Queen Mylene Class. She's just too shy and goofy, in fact. She said, I'll probably be crouching on the floor of the shower because the water will be cold. That whole sexy shower image, it's just not me. I don't know how these girls do it, and they look lovely in there. I've looked at the pictures and thought, how? They look stunning. My pictures will not be like that. Oh, she's doing herself down. I think she's going to look amazing in there and do really, really well in the jungle. She also just talks about how it would be really brilliant to add the Queen of the Jungle title to the many gongs she's won this year for her amazing work on EastEnders. She said it would just be the cherry on the cake. And now for the bit you've all been waiting for. What can we expect from Sunday night's huge opener? Well, we've talked about this before. We've had some hints and teasers from ITV and from our background behind-the-scenes reporting, but we can now confirm that ITV have planned a huge show first in that they are dropping 3 celebrities out into the Australian outback for a brand new trial. So that's going to be Nigel, Josie Gibson and Nella Rose, where they'll meet for the very first time out in the Red Desert. What they'll be doing is a mission to win time for their fellow campmates who are taking part in other challenges back on the Gold Coast. Now, we don't yet know exactly what they'll be doing, with ITV going to be revealing a little bit more on that as the day goes on ahead of the big opener. But one thing is for sure, they're definitely going to be searching through gallons of sticky gunk, scary hellholes, all in a search for stars to score tokens for time. It sounds like a classic of the I'm a Celebrity genre. We've got scary critters, we've got gooey gunk. It's going to be brilliant. Next, we're going to have Sam, Danielle, Fred and Grace all doing the classic focus building walk the plank. That's the new twist on it that we've talked about before, pole position, where they had to descend a ladder, shimmy along that slippery pole to unfurl a flag. Having watched this trial myself take place the other day, there are a couple of those celebrities who are very unhappy about being up there. So that's going to be one to watch. Look out for their very red faces as well, because it was very hot up on that rooftop and no amount of sun cream could save one particular celebrity's face. Sam Thompson. Bless him. And then there's the classic skydive. We've got Jamie Lynn Spears, Nick Pickard and Marvin Humes from JLS all doing the iconic entry. Marvin in particular is terrified of heights. He's already talked about how he's chickened out of one in the past with the band, so it will be very interesting to see if he manages to put a brave face on for the ITV cameras. They'll be dropping into the jungle, but there's no rest time because they'll all be heading into action for their first proper jungle trial as well. So it's going to be absolute non-stop thrills and spills when I'm a Celebrity returns. So that's on Sunday night, 9 p.m, ITV1 and ITVX. And you can head back here the following morning for more gossip, more drama, and more first looks at what we can expect as the week goes on. Thanks for joining me here. I've been Felicity Cross, The Sun's Deputy TV Editor on The Sun Down Under.